Hey, welcome back to class. Let's go ahead and let's get started today with random callouts. So we're gonna start off with upward number 1. Now as you're doing this, same as I've been saying, I want you to try to move around. Whether you're taking steps forward and backward, or you're just kind of doing this pressing motion forward and backward, keeping your dominant leg in front. Okay, let's go to sideways number 3. Make sure you're still striking upwards with that third upward strike for the reset, not just going around. Downward number 3. Let's go downward number 6. Extended strike number 1. Sideways strike number 1. Upward strike number 5. Downward strike number 7. Let's do 10 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go upward strikes number, let's do upward strike number 7. Now let's go ahead and go to upward strike number 8. So almost the same thing, but now we're crossing over to the other shoulder. Let's do variation strike number 2. Okay, let's do forward strike number 2. Let's do 10 on each side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's do forward strike number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's do downward strike. Let's do downward strike number 4. All right, upward 1, upward 2, upward 3, upward 4, upward 5, 6, 7, 8, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Other side, 7. Okay, sideways 1, sideways 2, sideways 3. We're just doing 1 on each side if you haven't realized. Sideways 4. Variation 1. Variation 2. Variation 3. Nope, not variation 4 yet. All right, forward strike 1, 2. Let's do 3 on this side and 4 on this side, and then we'll go to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extended strike 1. All right, take a breath. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna learn a new strike. So the new strike today is going to be extended strike number 2. All right, so the thing about extended strikes, you're really just doing this circular strike, this redondo strike, before doing whatever number downward strike it is, right? It's like the first 3 variation strikes, which is just down and then a sideways strike. Well, this is a circle, and then it's the downward strike, right? So extended strike number 1, circle, and then downward 1. Extended strike number 2, circle, rotate, and down 2, right? So after we do that first circle, when we come back to the front, we do the rotation. So it looks like 1, rotate, down. So we're striking, going off to that side. As we loop it back around, we do our circle, and we're at the center of the chest like we always do, and then we finish the strike. 1, circle at the center, 2. So from the side, 1, circle at the center, 2. Trying to slow it down as much as I can for you. So cut across, do that circle. Here. Strike the extended portion, circle it towards the front. Here and out. Strike. Just like this. So we're bringing it across, doing that circular motion, and then doing our small outside circle and bringing it under. Bring it around. Make sure that that circle happens when you're at the center of the chest, and you do that outside circle and bring it back. Keep it going. So big arm circle, small circle, under. Big circle, downward strike number 2. Big circle, downward strike number 2. Keep this going. If you get it down, feel free to pick up the speed zone. If you're really comfortable with it, you can start moving around already. All right, hopefully you have that down. It's not too difficult. We know downward strike number 2 pretty well, and all you're doing is doing basically a downward strike, but not catching it, and then coming for your downward 2. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna learn is going to be our block number 2. Okay, so block number 2, it looks pretty similar to block number 1, just think you're gonna be blocking with the other chuck now, right? So block number 1 looks like this. Now block number 2, we're gonna be blocking with the other one. We're blocking somebody striking to the side here, right? They're not going to the head, right? Think this one is a middle block, right? So we're blocking shoulder, torso as we're doing this here. So I'm not gonna raise this one all the way up because this is the focus of the block is going outwards, right? So most of the time you'll see this is kind of in front of the face in some way so that we can block here. If I raise it up too high, then I'm exposing a lot down here. Again, this is a side body block, right? I'm boom, blocking with this hand across. Now when I'm doing this, I have to make sure that I tuck my elbow, right? I don't want to go here where this elbow is outwards, right? So see how from your point of view, from the front point of view, if my elbow's out here, you can still hit my elbow. So I'm actually bringing my elbow inwards to be able to block here. Now one thing you gotta be careful of is don't elbow your forearm, right? Because this will happen. Sometimes you'll be bringing this elbow in and you just smash your elbow into your forearm. Try to avoid doing that. Sometimes punching up just a little bit more will clear that elbow out of your way, right? So that we can block here, boom, boom, right? So it's that bottom chuck this time is doing the block. Top one is not blocking. Right? It could go from a 1 to a 2 block, boom, boom, right? It's possible. But right now, just focus on that 2 block. It's gonna be with the bottom hand. So we're gonna go here, block, here, block. You could step forward and into it, if you'd like. You could step towards it. A lot of time with blocks, I like to move with it unless I'm really just kind of closing the distance. I'll move with the strike, right? So imagine if they're striking this way, I could go into the strike, or I could go with the strike. Ideally, you just don't want to stay in the same spot. It doesn't matter as much for something like this, but say if you're blocking a kick, then your best options are to stuff the kick before it's gained power, or to go with the momentum of the kick so that the power is diminishing. Staying in place where they anticipated hitting you is always, it's where you take the most force, right? Even if you have a good block, you still eat a bunch of that force, right? So either go into it, stop it before a lot of the power is already generated, or past it, go with the kick, the momentum, or punch or whatever you're blocking, weapon, stick, so that the momentum's already slowing down whenever you actually make contact. All right, keep working this a little bit. Again, you can step in with these if you would like, and step out with these if you would like. We typically just don't want to stay still, right? And again, something like this, if you're foam chuck sparring, it's not as bad. If you're doing like a stick fight, it's a lot worse. Okay. So we're blocking blocking with this one. Tip of the chuck just above your shoulder so you can block. And if your hand's way up here, then you're gonna be crushing your fingers. And give yourself more blocking surface area on this. Block, block, block. Don't leave the elbow out. Right, so that's just gonna get my elbow smashed. Elbow inwards, elbow inwards. Kind of like I'm going for that one. Right? My elbow had to go in for that. Same thing. All right, so hopefully you have the idea of this down. Right? It's not too complicated. You're just moving it across and blocking with one side. So now we're going to put it with a little bit of gripping. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go across. 1, 2, 3. Bottom hand is gonna be the blocking hand. 1, 2, 3. Bottom hand blocks as we bring it back to the front. Right, that bottom hand stays on bottom, so we can do 1, 2, 3 grips, and now we switch the hands. Block. 1, 2, 3. Block. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you'd like, you can do this in more of a sparring stance. Sparring stance meaning this bladed stance. If you need to, you can do this here in this squared stance. Personally, I would prefer you being in a sparring stance, right? Have your dominant side forward. If you're right-handed, you're probably gonna have your right leg in front. That way you can strike and have the most distance with your dominant side. So 1, 2, 3, block. 1, 2, 3, block. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's work this. We're just doing 3 grips, and then we're blocking. Now, if you want to stay still and block, for now you can, or if you want to do a little bit of a step, all right, as you go for that block, you're welcome to do that as well. Keep this going. 2, 3 grips, block. 1, 2, 3, block. 1, 2, 3, block. 1, 2, 3, block. More. All right, time. Catch breath. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do some combinations. So the first combination is gonna be extended strike number 2, downward strike number 3, and sideways strike number 3. So let's see, what does that look like? Extended strike number 2, downward strike number 3, sideways strike number 3. Right? We're gonna come up on this other side, and now we've got extended strike. Oh, that was number 1. Extended strike number 2, down 3, side 3, with the catch, and then up. Right. So let's go ahead and let's just work this a little bit. Ready? And begin. Extended strike 2. Down 3, side 3, raise it up for our reset. Extended 2, down 3, side 3, reset. 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3. Nope, down 3 first. Down, side, extended, down, side, extended, down, side. How's it down? Extended 1, extended 2, downward, side, extended 2, down, side. All right, now if you want to do this while walking, you could take a step on each one of these. So if I'm striking my extended 2 on my right side, I'm going to step with my right foot. Now I can step with my left as I do that downward. I can step with my right and then bring it up, and then I can keep moving forward, or I can step back and do whatever and do the same thing on the other side. Down, or extended 2, down 3, side 3, raise up. Now if I wanted to do this, I could do the same thing moving backwards. Down, down, side, up, extended, down, side, extended, down, side. All right, so play around with some steps if you're feeling comfortable with it. You don't have to if you're not, but if you are, go ahead and give it a shot. Keep it going. Try to feel that flow with this. Try to move around some. Let's extend it 1, extend it 2. All right, time. Take a breath in and out. All right, next thing we've got downward 7, downward 2, downward 5, downward 1. All right, so let's see, what does that look like? So starting off here, downward 7. So we're still on that same side. Then we've got downward 2, downward 5, downward 1. Now we're on that same side. We're on the other side. So now downward 7, same side, downward 2, switch aside, downward 5 on the same side, downward 1 on that same side. Ready? Go ahead and play with it. Begin. Down 7, down 2, down 5, down 1, 7. No, that wasn't 7. 7, same hand. That's clear the confusion was 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 7 stays, same hand, 2, bring it over to the other side, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1. All right, one's a little weird now because it's starting on the opposite side, but it's also ending on the opposite side. 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, that's another 7, 5, 1. All right, let's keep it going. This one's a little bit trickier than the last one is. 7, single hand, 2, other side, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1. Nope. 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1. Keep it going. There we go. When I stop saying what I'm doing, I just mess all up. 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1. So much easier when I say it. Let's try doing it without saying it. There we go. Starting to get it. Seven, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1. And I don't know why my brain just doesn't like this one very much. I think there's a lot of stuff on one side, and it's just like trying to mix it all together. So that's 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5. More times. So 7, 2, bad 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1, 7, 2, 5, 1. Let's try to get one more. It's actually correct. All right, cool. Take a breath. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to do speed strike. So speed strike today, we're going to be doing 2 sets, 60 and 60, right? So we're trying to beat that 60 mark, and this is going to be with our variation strike number 2. All right, so variation strike number 2 is, for me, maybe not for you, but for me, it is the hardest percentage strike that I had to do for my test, okay? Out of all the tests, it's the hardest one for me to make. It's just difficult. It's a lot of movements. So variation 2, whenever I'm doing this for a speed strike, I will go just past the center line of my head right here, and that's when I'm shooting out my next one here. Well, if I bring it all the way here, I'm not gonna make that time. Right? It's not an easy time to make, so just be aware of that. This is hard. I might not make 60 and 60. I'm gonna try my best to, but I might not, and that's okay, right? We just gotta do our best, and we gotta try to get better every single time. All right, I actually am gonna count for both of these because this is the one that I struggle with the most. I wanna try to push myself a little bit more than I usually do so that maybe I'll get better and be able to hit 100 and 100? We'll find out. All right, 60 seconds. 1 minute, ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 50. Ooh, time. All right, I did not make that. How'd you do? I got 53 with 1 miss. All right, so we'll take it down to 52. Not my best, gotta say, but that's okay. One thing also that helps me when I'm doing percentage strikes, and you guys will have an advantage on this than me while I'm filming this, is to look at a clock or a countdown timer while you're doing this. So for me, it allows me to stay paced because I know I should be doing 1 strike per second. So I can easily do the math and know if I'm behind or not. When I just using my watch like this, I'm not actually able to glance at it to see how much time is going while still moving. So I don't know if I have to vary my pace up. Right, so use that to your advantage. Whenever I actually did my exams, I made sure to have a countdown timer in front of me whenever I was doing this. That way I could literally see and adjust my speed accordingly because I didn't want to go too fast and burn myself out, but also I couldn't go too slow because then I just didn't make the times. So be aware of that if you're able to, which you guys are whenever you're filming. Make sure it's just on a big enough screen so you can actually see. But whenever you're practicing this, try to have some sort of a countdown timer. Right now, I'm going to give one to you, but if you're practicing this on your own, trust me, it helps. Right? Get something that you can do, make it big enough that you can see without actually hitting it, right? Because I had some things that are just too small and I would strike it because I'd have to be too close to even be able to see it. All right, shake on arms a little bit more. Let's try and talk to get my chest a little bit of a chance to rest. Okay, we've got 1 more set of these. Mark, get set, go. Time went off, I had 56, but I had 2 misses, so we're gonna drop that down to 54. Slightly better than last time, even with my 2 misses, but still didn't quite make the time. Again, that's okay. That's why we practice. This is hard, right? I had to do this quite a few times to be able to actually make my time on the test. It's not super simple, and you have to practice it. If you don't practice these and you just try to do the test, well, you're not going to, right? You're not gonna make it. But that's okay because you're training along with me, so we are gonna make sure we practice it, and when the time comes, you'll already be ready for it. It won't be a surprise to you, and you'll know how to do it. All right, next thing we're gonna do, gripping, right? Ready, set, go. You're trying to beat 50. another thing where it helps if you have a timer in front of you and you can see how fast you need to be going or if you need to really push it. Granted, gripping to me isn't as exhausting as some of the speed strikes are. Time. And because it's not as exhausting, you can kind of push yourself a little bit more the whole time instead of like on the speed strikes where one, it's significantly longer. It's over 3 times longer whenever you're doing the speed strikes, but also it's a lot more motion for me. My pecs right here, that's what gets really tired, especially like on the variation 2, because I have to cut that across here and my pecs start to get really sore from it. Right? Okay, next set of gripping, I will be counting this time. Mark, get set, go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 52, 54, 55, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 60, nope, 66 didn't count, 65. Cool. All right, I beat my time. Hopefully you beat your time. You were trying to beat 50 or 60 or me, if you can beat 60. All right, we got one more set. Catch your breath, on your mark, get set, go. As fast as you can. If you haven't beat that 50 marker today, let's do it. You can do it. Keep it going, keep it going. Done. Catch your breath. All right, last thing we've got is gonna be freestyle. Ready, begin. So, do whatever you want. Fancy tricks, cool. You can do that. If you wanna sit here and practice sparring combinations or getting ready, right? Practicing moving around while just keeping this going. Right. If you can, I would prefer you to practice sparring stuff rather than the fancy spinny stuff. We will be getting to that later. Right now, I would prefer that you focus on this, right? So keeping, that's pointing against me. All right, keeping your dominant foot in front, okay? Pressing forward and backward as you're constantly switching hands. You're gonna be using quite a bit of grips, quite a bit of upwards 1s. Personally, I like to put upward 5s in there as well. They just kind of flow and chain things together for me. And then practice your block. That was 1 block, right? Practice your 2 block. Moving around. You can strike, bring it back. Strike, bring it back. Remember, if you're striking in the air, you stop it in that center, right? Boom, and then regain control. You have to stop it for a second. Boom. Whenever you're striking, if I'm making contact with somebody, I have to point the chuck at them. I can't rip through, right? That's more of combat chucks. This is sparring. Boom, hit, bring it back. Do a few more hand changes, hit, bring it back. Try not to drop it. When you pick up the speed, you're gonna drop it more, right? But if you're doing this in sparring and you drop it, you get deductions, so be aware of that. But it's okay to do that while we're training, right? So try to pick up the speed. If you drop it more here, whatever, I don't actually care. Keep it going, keep it going. and time. All right, breathe in and out. So, if we can, all right, again, this is freestyle, so it's up to you. I'm gonna let you choose what you wanna do. You can do spinny stuff, but for now, I would prefer, if your freestyles look a bit like what I did today, focusing more on a sparring aspect rather than a tricks aspect. Why? Because, well, I think the sparring is the most fun part, right? Tricks are cool. I like to do them. They're kind of meditative, right? I'll just come out here and play around with them. But if you are able to find a partner, sparring is a lot more fun for me. Everyone's different, but I think it's a lot of fun. You don't really get hurt from these. They sting a little bit when you get hit, but as long as you don't have a partner just ripping through, which again, you're not allowed to do in the sparring aspect of this, you shouldn't be getting hurt. You should be having a little bit more fun, but you have to figure out how to actually play the game. And so practicing that way will help you get better at playing the game. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna quickly recap what we went over today. First thing we did, we started off with random callouts. I said the name of a strike and you did the strike. After that, we learned extended strike number 2, which looks like this. After that, we learned the number 2 block, which looks like this, blocking with this side one here. After we did that, we did 1, 2, 3 grips, block, 1, 2, 3 grips, block. You can do it in that squared stance, you can do it in more of a sparring stance, and you can add steps in with the block. After that, we did some combinations. The first combination was extended strike number 2, followed by a downward number 3, and then a sideways number 3. After we did that, we did another combination, which was downward number 7, downward number 2, downward number 5, downward number 1, ideally with a catch, and then we repeated the same thing on the other side. So down 7, 2, 5, and 1. After we did that, we did speed strikes. The speed strike for today was our variation strike number 2, and we were trying to get 60 within 60 seconds. And I told you this one is a really hard one to do and gives me the most trouble out of any of them. Okay, after we did our speed strikes, then we did gripping. Right? Goal was 50 within 30 seconds. We did 3 sets of that, and then we did 3 minutes of freestyle, and I put an emphasis on more of a sparring freestyle rather than just freestyle techniques. Okay, up to you how you want to do that. Hopefully you enjoyed today's class. If you did, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next class. Have a great day.